Hello folks, welcome to Duene Tech channel. Today I'm going to help you how to create MongoDB database on cloud and then connect that to your server or your Express.js server. And basically simply we have this very front end simple app here, so has just form inputs, 3 input. Then after filling this input and press submit, it will send the data to the server, and the server is going to save this data on the database, which can be accessible from anywhere around the world. And at the end of this, basically after adding this data and pressing this submit, it will show this here list of cars or whatever you're passing down to this form. And so before that, so you need to first actually to open a new tab in your browser. So we need firstly to start to create our MongoDB account. And if you don't have that already, you need to just search for MongoDB and then hit enter. And first result here, just select this one. And we'll redirect you to this page where you need to select this start free. So as I mentioned, this is going to be free just for development or for your portfolio. And here where you can start create a new account. So you will ask you for password, first name, last name, and your email and your company. And this is optional. If you don't need to pass it, will not make any issue. And then just you need to accept also the agreement for this term and conditions. And then hit this get start free button. And I already have an account, so basically I'm going to press sign in, which will redirect me to this page where you can start to log into your account. So you need to first to add the email that you just create an account with, then hit this next, and then it'll ask you to the password that you just created account with, and then press login. So this will take some seconds, then we'll redirect you to this dashboard where you can start creating your database. So this page, if you didn't come to this page, basically you need to select this database and then press this button, build a database. We'll give you 3 options here, and we are going to use the free option for today. As I mentioned, this is only for development or for your build something for your portfolio, and this is going to be fine for us. Just press this create. And this will redirect you to here to start create your cluster. A cluster is a place that where you can start build a multiple or more than database. And basically we are going to select our region or the provider. We are going to use the default provider, AWS provider. And then in this section, you are going to select a region that close to where you live or where you need to close to where your application will be deployed. And in my scenario, it's going to be Ireland is good for me. And then I'm going to press this create cluster. And then after press this button, we redirect you to this page where quickly you can start to write or create your first database. So username here will be your database name, which I'm going to use it, call it just first-db. And then a password that you can remember. You need this later to use it to connect to your database. And then hit this create cluster or create user, and then that's it basically. And this will say here will take between 3 to 5 minutes to build the cluster, but the database is created now. If we go to this tab here, let's see database again. So it shows that here we have the cluster now. Is try to build that, is your cluster is being created. And now if you go to this access, database access, so you see here our database is being created, this database name. And now if we need to connect to this database, how we can connect, basically you need to go back to this database tab here and then press this connect. And that is not clickable because it still is in progress, is creating this cluster. Let's just wait between 1 to 3 minutes until this being finished. So that now our cluster is being created. So you can now press this connect button. So then this will show this model, pop-up model, just if I press that. And then from here, you need to choose this, choose connection method. And from here, we are going to use this connect to your application, the middle one, and then just copy this URL and close it. And let's go to our application where I have it already here. So in your application, you need to create this .env or .environment file. Then you are going to assign a new environment variable called just db-url. You can call it whatever, but I'm using this name because I need to use it here in this file later, so to access inside this environment variable. So I'm going to just explain this line by line first. Let me add this URL we copied. So this is this environment variable name. I'm calling it just db_url. You can call it whatever, as I mentioned. The value, what is the important one, the value of this URL, which this here we copied from the MongoDB database. And here this is your database name. You can change this, but for my scenario I'm going to keep it, just leave it to be called my first database. And then the second important one here, this section here, so this should be changed with the password that when you created your database with, so you need to use the same password. As I mentioned, that you should remember that, otherwise you cannot access your database. So I'm going to change this, and I'm not going to show you what the password is, but then I'm going to move to next file. So after I just added my password, I came to this server file where I have my code. So I need to actually import or require this file db-connection where I have my database connection. I need to require it at the top before everything here inside this server. And then inside this file, I need to install MongoDB so I can connect to the Mongo database. And that's very simple, only this two line basically. And I'm going to use this process.env or so where I can access this environment file where I have environment variables, and then I will just access this db_url. As I mentioned, if you change that, then you need to change this one too. So now I have my database connected to my server, and if your app is running, you need to stop that, and or your server if is running, you need to stop it and run it again. In my scenario, just I need to do npm start, and this will take some second. Now that start on 4000, let me come to this our app here from in-app. Let me add some data. I have already some data here. I have it ready. Let me use it. Just copy this one. Let me add it here. And first one is going to be just this Mercedes, and then the description will be just Mercedes car, and then hit this submit. Let me see my terminal. Still there is an error. So I left this to this point. I meant to have this here. So if you are following me, so you can find out and how you can fix this. The issue basically will ask you to access your database. You have to whitelist your API, or you need to allow this to be accessible from anywhere. So we need to go back to our MongoDB dashboards here. So if you come back where we create the database, then you need to come to this network access, and then here add API, and then it will give you this access for allow access from anywhere, and then just hit confirm. So basically I'm going to access this from anywhere. I'm not going to use my IP in this tutorial. If you need to use your IP, you need to select option that to just access only from your machine, which you need to add your IP address. So this will take some second to finish, actually to connect or to allow us to access this database. I will be back soon as this just finished. So that now is finished and showing us here is active. Now if we try it again, we should actually access this. Let me also stop just the app or the server and run it again. And this time let me just copy this image URL, and then I'm going to the front end again and just add this here. The title is going to be just Mercedes-Benz, and let me add this, and here the description, and then just hit submit, and that is working now. Let me just quickly add this next 3 cars here, and then I'm going to explain this just almost the end of the tutorial. So it seems these two image URL are not working properly. But if you just bring a valid URL, for example, if I go to come in here, for example, BMW, let's just bring any image of these cars from here, Let me, for example, this red one, and copy image or copy link URL or address, and let me just use that here. If I come to my front end app and just add that here, PMW and PMW car, and then just hit this submit. And that still, if we try actually access the image URL, this is not right image URL, we just copy it. Let me just copy the right image URL, this here image URL address, and if I change that, if I just change that again to new one, PMW and write image URL and just a description, and I just hit enter, so that now we have a valid another car image with the same description and title. And now if we reload, it's still the data is there because this data is coming from database. If we go back to our database here and reload, let's go to database, and then we can go to collection. If I just press this database here, this database, and then from here we can browse collection here, and we can see actually our actual data, and that will take some second. As you see, we have here around 5 different collections. This is just the data we entered from this front end app. That basically very simple, and how you can create your MongoDB database and connect it to your Express.js server. And if you like this tutorial, try to press some up, leave your comment down in the comment section. Let me know how did you find this tutorial, and if this is first time to visit my channel, try to press subscribe button and enable the notification bell so you can get all new tutorials and videos when I upload them to the channel. Thank you, and see you in the very next tutorial.